Hi guys, I'm Commander Nugstar and welcome back to another Elite Dangerous video. This one is bringing you a brand new PvP build for the Kestrel Mk2, Elite's brand new small combat ship, with the aim of allowing players that don't have quite as much combat experience or zero PvP experience to get a piece of the action. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's take a quick look at the build, starting with the hard points. As I mentioned before, this build is a way of allowing commanders that have very little PvP experience to outfit it, jump in, and take part and have fun. Now, part of that is running a full gimbaled weapon setup. Now, what this does is it allows us to fly evasively, and don't worry about aiming. Just worry about flying evasive and taking as little damage as possible. So we've gone with the 3 pulse laser setup. These are all modified with efficient, but they have 3 different experimentals on them. The first is Scramble Spectrum, which causes random malfunctions, but only against hull strikes. The second we're using is Thermal Shock, which will apply heat into the enemy ship up to 90%, which can cause a little bit of module damage and put pressure on the opponent's distributor. And then we also have Emissive to not only not allow your opponent to disappear off radar by dropping heat sinks or going silent, but it also extends the gimbal cone to its maximum size, meaning your gimbal weapons will track more efficiently. Multi-cannon, this is a utility only, so we're just using it purely for the corrosive shell. I've gone with efficient again to really reduce as much pressure on our own distro as possible. And then we've gone with a long range cannon with dispersal field. Now what dispersal field does is act like chaff. So every time this long range cannon hits an enemy ship, it will get a few seconds of the chaff effect without us actually having to use chaff itself. I've gone with long range because it doubles the shot speed, meaning we are twice as likely to get a hit with this. Yeah, those are the weapons. Utilities, I've gone with a 4 shield booster setup along with prismatic shields. This is for PvP. You really want to try and get prismatic shields unlocked if you want to go into PvP. That may be a barrier if you haven't done power play already. But power play 2.0 is in a pretty good state, and it's relatively quick to get prismatics unlocked. So yep, I've gone with 3 heavy duty shield boosters with super capacitors as the experimental, and then we've gone with 1 thermal resist shield booster, also with super capacitors. We can bring up the shield stats real quick. Let's see. So the shield strength is 2,288 megajoules. That on a ship as maneuverable as the Kestrel is a hell of a lot of shields. Core internal, we've gone with the mirrored surface composite just to give us a little bit more in terms of thermal resist on the hull. And we've gone with a lightweight and deep plating on that just to give us more speed as well. The power plant, we've gone with 5A armoured power plant with thermal spread just to try and bring the heat down slightly on our own ship. Of course, we've gone with the new Mark II agile boost thrusters, which are insane. We've gone with grade 5 dirty drive tuning with drag drives. 4A frameshift drive, that is one of the V1s with increased range, and we've added mass manager to that. I think we get around, 25 light years jump range, which I don't think is too bad for a combat ship at all. Life support, no engineering required. You might as well save your mats. Lightweight is not going to do much when it only weighs half a ton as it is. The power distributor, no surprises here. It's a charge enhanced with super conduits. Sensors, long range scanner, but we've gone with a D-rated module just to keep the weight down. And then we've kept the fuel tank as standard. You could actually drop that fuel tank slightly if you wanted to min-max and get a little bit more speed and maneuverability out of the Kestrel. Not that it's needed, but you could. You could easily half that tank. So moving on to the optional internals. Like I mentioned before, we've gone with a prismatic shield generator with reinforced shields and high cap just to make the most of the huge alpha shields you get with prismatics. And then the rest we've packed with hull reinforcements. All but 1 have heavy duty with deep plating. And because we've got the mirrored surface composite, the last hull reinforcement, we have used a kinetic resistant mod with deep plating just to balance out the resists. So that gives us 47% on kinetic, 60 on thermal, and 31 on blast. And then we've got an interdictor, just a 1D, with grade 3 expanded arc, just to give us that 80 degree limit. Or is it 90 degree for grade 3? I think it's 90. Yeah, and the range is not important since we have an SCO FSD to quickly zoom up behind our opponents and grab them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. Let's get into some gameplay. So here we are against Commander Thomas Prince in his Federal Corvette. This thing was so tanky, it took around 30 minutes for this fight. He had huge prismatic shields, 8 boosters, 2 7A shield cell banks. I mean, wow, that was one tanky vet. But as the little mosquito Kestrel continues to plink away with the pulse lasers at the shields, we fast forward a little while because to show the whole fight it would be terribly boring, and you get the gist from this. You can see how we've got the cannon on the second trigger. So every time the Corvette turns towards us to fire, we can just pop a cannon, enable the chaff effect, and mitigate most of that damage. And we're just trying to stay away from those 2 class 4 hardpoints and do as much damage as we can while taking as little. So we are very, very close to the end of the fight now. The Corvette is on 3% shields and we're on 65% hull. You can see he's now charging his FSD to jump out. So we're going to pre-select his frameshift drive and see if we can get the kill before he leaves. We've also switched to our second fire group, which contains a corrosive multi-cannon for hull. So the shields are down. Oh, and we couldn't quite get a malfunction on the frameshift drive, so he is out. GG, Commander. Okay, next up, Kestrel versus FDL. Now, we got interdicted by Commander Cronus Cyrus, I think it was. I probably said that wrong. Let me correct myself. Where's his name? Commander Cronus Sarin. So he's only got 20% shields, and we've got 89. So it's not a fair fight, but I know for a fact that he has a friend. So this fight is going to quickly turn from a 1v1 into a 2v1. But I'm still not really worried. You can see now on the radar, another ship has jumped in. It's a Corsair, and he's beginning to launch pack hounds and fire modified plasma charges at us, which is obviously not good. But my aim is to stay in the fight long enough to get the FDL out, and then maybe have a little fight with the Corsair if we can. So we fast forwarded. The fight took a while. We managed to get the FDL down to its very last percentile in hull. He is now dead. And now we're going to start working on the Corsair as well. Why not? I imagine we're going to have to jump out at some point, because if our shields drop and he has pack hounds, he's going to take out our drives very easily, and we don't want that. But we'll try and get his shields down as low as possible. I think they were on about 80% when we started. So we've got the Corsair shields down to 42%, but ours are on 4%. So I'll show you the difference between a low wake and a high wake here. I've opted to just jump back into Super Cruise, but as you can see, our FSD is taking forever to charge. So the best thing to do is cancel that, quickly switch to a star, a different system, and then charge again. This is called a high wake. This will get you out of 99% of fights in a hurry. You can see the FSD is already nearly fully charged. Way, way, way quicker than a low wake. We're going to leave. And GG, Commander. I think I'll take that as a W since we got the FDL. And it was a 2v1. And finally, here we are in the rocks in a Hazres. We've spotted another wanted Kestrel, Commander Chris. To be fair to Chris, I think his build is a PvE build, and I think he's He's trying to sort of evade us and hope we get bored and give up on the fight, but that's not going to happen. So hopefully he does turn around at some point and fight us. But what an amazing ship to follow in the rocks. The maneuverability is unmatched in this game. And oh, wait a minute, is he turning around? Yeah, it looks like fight on. So the fight's been going quite a while now, and just look at this next section of footage, just how maneuverable and how crazy it looks with two Kestrels fighting in the rocks. Honestly, it almost looks like a different game. You can see the gimbaled lasers are really struggling to keep up with the Kestrel. Oh, it looks like we've got a power plant malfunction due to the scrambled spectrum laser, allowing us to get some free hits in there. And again, we've skipped forward towards the end of the fight. We've still got a lot of shields, and the PvE Kestrel is really struggling. But I'm still pretty confident that this build would work against 90% of Kestrel builds out there. As long as you fly evasive, it will work. And there we have it. GG's, Commander. So that pretty much wraps it up for this one. If you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.